It's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. It is Friday, May 22nd, and I'm going to jump right into it. So we're going to continue with the same conversation we've been having, which is it's budget season in Pittsfield. And the city is finalizing their fiscal 27 budget, which the new fiscal year is, I'm sure most of you know, starts in July. So there's all these additional budget hearings going on right now. And also, of course, our regular council and school committee meetings. So last night was the council of the whole, but it really wasn't because there was 3 counselors not there, or committee of the whole, I should say, for these budget hearings. So last night we were missing Ward 3 counselor Matt Wren, at-large counselor Alyssa Costa, and the Ward 4 counselor Jim Conant. So 3 counselors were not there last night. It was an interesting one. So these budget hearings, there'll be more coming. But here's the bottom line, and I've been talking about this. The state, Massachusetts, has found itself in a bad spot. So this year, going into FY27, Massachusetts itself is facing about a $1.2 billion deficit, which is going to greatly affect a community like ours that relies heavy on state funding, federal funding, grant funding, all that. Because the state is not going to have a lot of the resources that they've been handing out in the past. And that's going to affect us. So the city itself is not in the best position either. The city is at its levy ceiling as far as borrowing capacity. So the mayor is going to have to make some tough decisions this year. And next year, the mayor is going to have to make some incredibly tough decisions because there is already talk, and I've mentioned this before, that fiscal 28, we're looking at a $3 to $4 billion deficit in the state. And I think you're going to see a lot more cuts. It's going to be interesting to see in our public schools what the enrollment is when fall starts. And that's one, that takes a lot of funding. Now, again, that's a lot of funding that comes from the state, a lot. But we're looking at an $86 million budget is what at the last budget hearing the other night was put forward, and that passed 10-1. I talked about that in the previous video. Now, a lot of people were saying, well, they had to cut $4 million down from the previous year. No, they didn't. The budget last year was $86 million. I think $86.9. So I think when they say cuts or reductions, these are, remember, government positions are a lot different. A lot of government positions you're looking at in benefits, contractual raises, cost of living raises that the private sector doesn't see. There's, pensions, things like that. You want a good pension and you want annual raises and you want all that, go to work for the government. That initially, I think when they started doing all that with benefits, because the pay wasn't always that great. Pay is considerably better. And that's something I'll talk about a little bit in this video as we talk about what happened last night. So anyway, last night, but with the school, it's not, to the people that misunderstood that there's 2 people that sent me messages saying, so you're saying our budget is $4 million less than it was last year? And no, it is not. It is not. It was 86.9 last year, and it's 86 something this year. Positions were shifted. Of course, we know Morningside School was closed. And again, I think come next year, we're already going to be talking about closing more. I have a feeling Conti, in my opinion, and I don't have any insight into this, but I would think Conti would be on the table as well as the next school. And the reason for that is that open floor concept doesn't work. And it's really hurting the kids at that school. I think providing the best education possible should be the whole entire purpose and function of our public schools. But we're going to see what happens this year because the PHS report, and I'm just going to touch on that a little bit because this is my opinion, that will be rediscussed at the upcoming school committee meeting next week. And I think they're going to re-vote on that. They took a vote to release it. A lot of committee members said they were confused on what they were voting on. It was a little bit confusing, but there was no doubt that they were voting to release a redacted version of the report. There was no doubt about that. I mean, that was what was said. And there was a date given initially that it would be released by, I forget what it was now, I think February something. There was a specific date given to release that, and it never happened. But anyway, I think they're going to re-vote on that, and I think that the school committee members are going to vote no, and that's never coming out. You can put that report at the bottom of the ocean with Osama bin Laden and put it in a drawer somewhere with the Epstein files. I don't think we're ever going to know. There's members of the city saying that they've been told by the Secretary of State's office that if that gets released, even a redacted version that removes all personal information, that they're still facing lawsuits or potential lawsuits. I don't know the extent of it, but that is what's being discussed. I don't get it. Here's the problem. It's created a mess because of the severity of the allegations, everything that was going on. Then the school committee hires a law firm to investigate it at a price tag of between $150,000 and $160,000. They finish this investigation and put a report together and give that back to the committee. And then we're just told, well, we can't release it. There's nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. All the allegations were unsubstantiated and it's done and over. And that's going to be concerning to a lot of people because that got so many people worked up when people started hearing about these allegations, hearing about the FBI coming in and making an arrest with a dean of students for alleged drug trafficking and all these other things. People started to freak out. That's serious stuff. And you're talking about our public schools with children. So I don't know. I don't know. Did the Secretary of State's office say they can't release that? Maybe. I don't have any other information than anyone else. But I do know that without that report, a redacted version of that full report, people are going to assume the worst. And I think that's going to greatly affect the school, which is sad for the kids that are there. It needs to be put away. That needs to be put to bed. That needs to be finalized. And I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go. So pay attention to this next school committee meeting because we'll be talking about this more. But I personally believe the upcoming school committee meeting, they will be taking a vote. And I think they're going to vote no to releasing that. I think they're going to undo the previous vote. So anyway, let's get to last night's budget hearing and then we'll wrap it up. So it was an interesting one. I think the highlight of it, as far as that caught a lot of people's attention, was the director, Michael Obashan, I believe is his name. I believe his title is a director or coordinator of our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department, was questioned about his budget. I didn't realize we were spending over $200,000 a year on that. That seems a little excessive, but I don't really understand the work that is done there. And when he was asked certain questions by the counselors, when the director was, it was very confusing. He didn't have direct answers. He was asked about a line item with a travel account, money for that. I think it was a couple $1,000s in there for fuel, for lodging, that kind of thing, if he had to travel. He had said he hadn't had time to, and it was untouched, so they were looking for a reduction. And he said, well, he just hadn't had time to submit his receipts, something like that. It was very confusing. And he was asked, he brought up the fact that he was supposed to be attending a 3-day conference in New Jersey, but he could not go to that conference because he had to go to this meeting last night. And the mayor even apologized to him for saying, well, if I had known you were supposed to be at a conference, I would have changed on the schedule when you came up in front of the committee to discuss this. So you could have went to that meeting if it was important, if it was an annual conference. Then it turned out that that conference is actually next week. And it was very confusing. So he said he was supposed to go down for 1 day, but he had just prior to that said he was going down for 3 days and that he would have spent about $1,500 between lodging and fuel and other things while he was there. It was very confusing. I don't think we're going to hear the end of it with that. I think that is going to come up again. It confused quite a few of the counselors. So it got heated and that dragged on a little bit. I don't know. Again, I don't think that's finalized. So there was a vote to approve, but I think it will, the final vote on the entire budget, I think that is one of the departments that is going to come back up. I really do. But again, people need to pay attention. This is a time in the community where I'm telling people already, prepare yourself for next year. It's only going to get worse. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but people need to start thinking about that. They need to start thinking about these things. And the best thing you can do in your community is shop local. If you're going to dine at locally owned establishments. Keep your money local. That money recirculates back into the local economy. When you go spend your money at a franchise or a big box store, which we don't have many, and I understand for some people, price is a big part of that. But when you spend your money out of the area, even if it's Amazon or something like that, that money is leaving the community and not coming back. When you spend your money with a local merchant, that money is recirculating back into our local economy. And it benefits you and everyone else a lot more than sending that money away. As a resident, that's one of the best things you can do. If you're going to spend money on certain things, and I understand, again, that price is a big factor with a lot of people, of course. But if you can spend it local, do. Spend it local. That is one of the best ways you can support your community, because scary times are coming. And the last thing we want to see is in the next year or so, more businesses close. Because things are tough and are going to get a little tougher. And one of the things that has crushed the state, I've been preaching this the past month, is that millionaire's tax that everyone voted to pass that was sold on. It was a mistake. I'm telling you, it was a mistake. There's too much money leaving the state. And the money we're seeing coming in are wealthy second homeowners. And that's, it might sound good, but it's really not. And I think, and it might sound good to some if you're in the real estate market, but it's not a good thing, because we're seeing a gentrification of our community in that sense. The demographics are changing, and it's scary. These are scary changes to me. And that's something we're going to talk about down the road. Right now, it's budget season, what's happening. and the economy. And they're all serious things, People already need to be thinking. I know we're just starting to get nice weather, but people need to be thinking coming into the upcoming winter season, heating and fuel and all those things, utilities. It's scary, and I think people need to be proactive about that now and aware of that and talking about it. And we need to be looking at cuts in the city. That's something we're going to have to look at. You cannot run the way it is. You can't just keep the boat sailing. It's status quo isn't going to work right now. And I think the sad part is I think there's positions that need to be cut in the city, and then there's other positions that are underfunded. We need to be investing more into our Department of Public Works. A lot of the employees at DPW are making the same or less than what some employees at McDonald's are making. We need to be looking at are we spending the money responsibly that we have? And again, when we're talking about property taxes, we do need to be protecting that free cash account in the event of an emergency, knowing we're at our levy ceiling for borrowing capacity. That should not be continually being used to offset property taxes. It really shouldn't. That money should be in the event of an emergency project, something that we really need it for, and especially since we can't borrow right now. The free cash account should definitely be being guarded because that's a lifeline for emergency services, for everything in the event of something horrible. So people need to be aware of all that. But anyways, I'm not trying to be negative. I want people to be proactive. There's a lot coming up next week. I've got an interview coming with our Berkshire County District Attorney from the District Attorney's Office. So I'm looking forward to that, to asking DA Shagru a bunch of stuff. I'm still trying to get in touch with the chief. I've given up on the email thing. I do know the city is switching from .org to .gov and all that, and there are a few little kinks in there that have to be worked out. As soon as I have the time next week, I'm going to call him. This coming Monday is Memorial Day, and everybody remember the meaning of Memorial Day, and then I'll wrap it there. But Memorial Day is about those who have given their lives serving this country. It's not Veterans Day, it's Memorial Day in memory of those who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving this country. And that needs to be at the forefront always, because, what a sacrifice. So we can be here and we can live and we can do these things. That's amazing and sad at the same time. But to make those deaths not in vain, to think about that, to think about the rights and things we have, and how we got them and who fought for them and who gave their lives, the ultimate sacrifice for us to be able to do these things. So, that's it for that. So it's going to be not the greatest of weather this weekend, but just a couple days where it goes down a little bit into the 50s and then back into the 60s. And then I think from there back into the really nice weather. But we'll be talking about a bunch coming up. Business highlights, the pizza thing, I keep pushing that. That's coming again. I'll say that I just kind of put that on hold a little bit because PCTV was doing their Eats a Pizza event. I didn't want to cross over with that. I know that's an important event for them. So that is it for now. To those who've given to my fundraiser, again, thank you so much. I can't do this without the help of you guys once a year. This will be the last time I do a fundraiser like this. There'll be something cool coming up for the next one. But this will be the last time I do a GoFundMe. And again, to those who have given, I cannot thank you enough. If you haven't given, and please consider, if you enjoy this platform and all the work we do, or I do, but I say we because it's a community-based thing. And there'll be a ton more stuff coming up for our nonprofits and businesses and all that. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, enjoy the weekend, pay attention, get involved, and be kind to each other. Be kind, voice your opinion, but in a respectful way, and keep it that way. And I will catch y'all the next day or two.